And once again, a beautiful Thursday, the first Thursday of the month of March, where we can say is going to be a beautiful show. Looking at some of the activities that took place over the weekend and ushering you, of course, in what to expect in the upcoming weekend. A bumper show, one would say, looking at how a title sponsor like Eswatini Building Society did hit some of the sporting court. Talk about your golf. There was a Mbabane golf tournament over the weekend. In the presence of the Minister for Sports, Harris Bolunga, different winners on the day were quite up in the moment, expressing their views and also expressing their how happy they were to be part of the tournament. We'll get into that and see how, since of course there has been a new leadership at the Mbabane Golf Club, sponsors have been coming in their numbers. We jump to tennis once again under the leadership of a new president, Derek Jelle. The Jelle family is of course taking over this tennis association. Now this was his first tournament as the president, so he monitored the tournament where as well Eswatini Building Society was sponsoring, and of course look at who were the winners on the day and what did they have to say about the tournament. First tournament and the tennis association for the year 2022. Talk about the tournaments, of course there was a team from the Republic of South Africa that is also well known as a Tekball team that visited our Tekball Federation in the Kingdom of Eswatini, where there was of course a beautiful moment over the weekend. We look at what unfolded at the Mafso Sports Center, the hall where the games were played, the reason behind of the team's visit, what unfolded, the teams and everything that took place at the Mafso Sports Center over the weekend. Otherwise, it is a beautiful clinch for Eswatini TV. One would say a bumper clinch for Eswatini TV to get rights for the Premier League of 2021-2022 season. As you can see, in the company of acting CEO Kenneth Mazia and Chairman Mark Carmichael, penning down what is likely to be a remaining of 15 games as so far we have entered the second round. But remember, the season started in November last year, so we've been bringing you these highlights where the agreement between the two companies, the two organizations, is believed to be around $500,000. We look at that and what is expected of this a station in terms of broadcasting those games, the highlights, and from the Premier League of Eswatini. Otherwise, the Premier League first round of this year's season ended yesterday on a high note. A team like Real Leopard, the defending champions, going home with the 200,000 Emalangeni. A team of Ali Khomongwe was left in shock, of course, where hopes were high. But look at how happy those Leopard players were on the day after their heavy defeat in CAF Champions League, CAF Confederation last weekend. All that is going to be live on Eswatini TV. Different platforms, of course, can be used to watch and monitor this program. It could be through your Eswatini TV app. It could be on YouTube, and of course at home, wherever you are seated. I'm in the company of one man, a special man, one I would say, singasho ukuthi mbitanga mkhaya. Zwakele simela nguvusele mkuni.
Nguvusele mkhaya wa, nguvusele nababukeli emakhaya.
Mkhaya, as I was greeting the viewers, I'm still shocked. Ngicela ukuthatha umzuzu ukuthi you still play soccer.
Yeah, ngaba nenhlanhla Fabrice, ngaba nemtimba longazange wangehlula. So I'm still playing. Ngidlala Super League Shiselweni.
Udlala nyaka Super League Shiselweni. And you are a top man.
Top man.
Udlala iphi team kodwa nyaka?
Sibovu FC.
Sibovu FC.
Yes.
So nasekwendekile ukuthi Sibovu ibe promoted ka National First Division next season. Sitakubona ka National First Division.
Once ngiphethe konke. I once coached ka First Division. I once played ka First Division. So sikude ukutaba kusha again. Yes.
Senidlale 2 games so far.
Yeah, 2 games but ngisengaqala ukudlala mina. Ngisethi ngeke
ngiyadlala. Top man wakadlala ekhaya sekwendekile.
Okay, ngeke my registration asikhona register kahle badlalile abafanele. So indaba engikhona in no time.
Utsi Ali Khomongwe, Highlanders director, they have a problem of strikers. They only have one strike, so they'll be going to those Super League teams looking for a striker. Be available. You could be playing for Highlanders in the next season.
Sikhathi sesenga ngicabanga ukuthi mina ngisephuke phela mina nyanga sengiyaphushwa wathi ngibona msele yaphushuka. So banqale ngapha sita vele ka Premier League na First Division. Ngicina khona leka no retire ka Super League.
Wow, Beautiful, beautiful. Those are the credentials that this man has. Kai, when I look at maybe other credentials that you have in terms of your work, you are an officer, of course, who is experienced at the Eswatini Sports Education Council. You know, some activities Eswatini Sports Education Council. Over the weekend, we saw another deal. Swaziland Being Society meeting halfway a sport like golf, where one would say besi try to bonabo Eswatini Royal Insurance Corporation, besibona different sponsors now coming on board. A beautiful tournament over the weekend for the presence of the minister. But what I like the most, the winners. We always have, you know, the different faces coming up, but we get into the winners. But what does that tell you? I mean, golf as a sport that is growing in the country now, Buganje could see Babane Golf on its own. What they're doing, attracting sponsors.
La kuma associations Fabrice ngicabanga ukuthi kufanele vele ukuthi sibe nebantu labane passion labane labakhona ukubuka ukuthi sitakwentani kusasa labane ma goals ngema ku leadership yabo.
Yes.
Ngibekise nje ka football sikubonile ukuthi sekuneminyaka sponsorship sabo makushiya ukuthi sekema millions ngakhona le ka tennis sibuka ukuthi kuna building society position sebamfake na egamini nabantu akhula nabo. So I encourage namanye ama sport coach ukuthi akalanzelele lawo lasavela aqalile into umsebenzi ukuthi attract ama sponsors.
All right, this is what we want from the sponsors, of course, taking time and be part of us as sporting. Now, in the presence of the minister on the day, we can see also the MD, the managing director of Swaziland Being Society, awarding the winner. And I think it creates now competition. If ungakhona kuhamba embili ku Royal Insurance Corporation uyathi ukuthi sekuta building society datwala thuba labo bomake nabo, we've seen a couple of times bakhala bo Fiswe Vilane ukuthi attendance yabo make eGalvin embabane club incane. So seeing a woman in that particular order being awarded singasho ukuthi yakhula sibili galufu.
Siyakhuzata kakhulu vele thina sikhona kuma sports ukuthi nalabo make ababe khona kuma sports kanye nabantwana babe khona nawo. Njengoba sibona nje lapha ukuthi sebakhona boma kusho ukuthi le sport isikhombisa ukuthi siyakhula naletinye futhi singakopa kanjalo sikhule le sport.
All right, just to get you a few reactions from those who were present on the day, beginning with the Minister for Sports, Harris Pulunga, and other winners that took part of the Mbabane Golf tournament over the weekend at the Mbabane Golf. Listen to them.
We are pleased, however, to see the sport, like many others, have resumed activities, and I wish to reiterate the fact that as a ministry, we are ready and willing to support golf. I now take this moment to thank Swaziland Building Society for the generous support they have given to this tournament for quite a number of years. This is something to be celebrated, and on behalf of His Majesty's government, I wish to thank you, Madam MD, for this unwavering support. We note with deep appreciation the strong and growing footprint of the Swaziland Building Society in local sport. Just a few weeks ago, around 2 months, we were in Lobamba launching yet another SBS sponsorship for sport, the one that goes towards tennis. So thank you so much, Madam MD, for such wonderful support.
The tournament early weekend, Lena, it was too perfect. The weather was excellent, the attendance by the golfers was excellent, and the spirit within which the game was being played, it was just perfect. We really enjoyed the game. And I also then was the lucky one to play better than all of them.
First and foremost, we'd like to thank the sponsor for such a prestigious tournament. This weekend was fake golf. It wasn't my best golf, but I tried and fought. And yeah, it's a long weekend because 2 days of golf needs you to keep your mind. You have to be fit, the walking and everything like that. Yeah.
Ngihlala ngilakho sonke isikhathi. Ngita nje ngidopractice. Ngiyadlala la Mbabane bo 9 holes ngiphinde ngihambe ngika M10 ngiyoshaya amabhola.
Mkhaya Mova Nosmilo.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Avere
yeah.
she has dedicated herself to the 9 hole, making sure we would see every time she practices, she's always at a venue where there is a tennis, there's a golf course. That's what we want. We want more women in the sport.
Ya lengakusho nje ukuthi Nosimile ube ngilomunye lo hlabeni. In fact vele ubashaye bonke. Ushaye bo stroke 183 stroke. Kusho ukuthi lokho vele kuyamenta lokuthi abe ngilongcono even. Nawubuka lokuthi nema targets akho ukuthi onke malanga uhamba inoshaya 9. Kusho ukuthi kusho bona futhi egcina wonke ema results utawathola. Ngicabanga ukuthi kungilokuhle lo for sisi ukuthi abe ma target lamahle kanje. Kube kunemfananyana ke lomncane wakamhlanga lapha specific emhlanga naye ushaye 162 stroke. Lapho ngilapha ngile B division shothi ngathi nje kube ifootball ngathi ngifirst division. B division shothi ngilaba besibili ka from A division. Ngicabanga ukuthi naye wente kahle kakhulu nawubuka lokuthi ngumfana lomncane usenelikusasa futhi nawe uyambona ukuthi ujabe kakhulu uyambona ukuthi lendvo ila kuye. Bese kuba navusi ke lokugcina abe number 1 ku A noma open A division category ube ushaye 146 stroke yena. Ngicabanga ukuthi kuwina kuza kuma result lamahle considering lokuthi le sport lesakusi le sponsor lesi sisha kubo. Ngicabanga ukuthi kubaqale kahle kakhulu in the near future ngicabanga sitawubona okunconyana kunalokho.
All right, beautiful stuff. Mkhaya, can see more winners on the day being awarded. Now, moving on, Eswatini Building Society is not only focusing on golf, because, like the minister mentioned it in his speech, they have done couple of things with the Eswatini Tennis Federation. Over the weekend, they had a 2-day tournament, Saturday, Sunday, where at the tennis center at Lobamba. Of course, it was a beautiful day. You can talk about international tennis players coming to the party. Talk about the likes of Turani Gina losing the game on the day. But now, I think the president, Derek Jere, the newly appointed president, now knowing that Maxwell Jere has, of course, left for higher position. Derek Jere, this was his first competition in charge. He watched the entire competition and he got a feeling that maybe Siakula as a country. Now, I would see now the likes of a youngster like Loeffler. Now they're starting to get rankings. These are some of the things we want to see in the sport industry, Mkhaya.
Yeah, ngiyajabula kakhulu ngendlela laba approach ngayo ngathi nje leadership yaka tennis. Nawubuka lapho ukuthi kunemdlali wakaLofla. Lona coach wakhe lo suka eZambia. Just to coach him. Uyabuka lokuthi nase benefit because naye lo coach uphize futhi angenele lamanakuzana ama competitions. Simbone nje adlala naThulani Gina lapha agcine babadlala ifinal. So kuyasho ukuthi the sport is growing.
Beautiful stuff. Now, and I think tennis, Mkhaya, I don't think they have anything to complain about. You talk about facility, they do have a facility. They can host anything at any point. We've seen before issues of weather condition. But let's talk about now sponsors. They have clinched that. I think before Maxwell Jele left, he made sure that at least about three to sponsorship. Guna Eswatini Building Society, Gune Inhlonhla, if I'm not mistaken, and other stakeholders. This is something that, if you look at their calendar of activities, is quite packed, and they are growing as an association. Now, what type of assignment do you think Mr. Derek Jere now coming to the office has in taking the sport to another level?
Ngicabanga ukuthi kubelula kakhulu na ubuka lokuthi kusuka bhuti wakhe khona lapha bekabambe the very same position. Ngicabanga ukuthi into levele ayibona noma besolo akuyo ayibuka lo iqhuba njani bhuti wakhe. Akathi kube inyawo leti inkulu vele 2 feet, but ngicabanga ukuthi usayibambe kahle so far usihambe kunyathole into bhuti wakhe.
All right, in the company of the winners, of course, over the weekend that took the game to another level. We'll also get a chance to hear from the new president, Derek Jere. Listen to them.
I'd say it was good. It was a better tournament regarding that. I had a challenging match in the semifinals, and I felt it was a good challenge for me to test me how well I could handle this the situations and what I was trying to solve and how I was going to solve it. So it was a challenge for me to think about what I was going to do best and stick to that.
Very well pleased with my performance. Ngidlale kahle kakhulu. Today I became #1 solo bangidefeat kuma-finals, but today I made it. Okay, physical fitness and mental fitness, because bengingajim kahle last time. So this time around I got the chance ekujima since basitshela on time ukuthi kutoba ne tournament. I made sure that I prepare myself and ngiwinile.
Say Guti, we are very happy with the first tournament. The turnout was very impressive. This Guti, my seniors will respond to our call so early in the year. We had about 27 men's draw, and we had about 16 women's draw. It's been very impressive, and we're confident Guti at the next event, which will be a doubles tournament sometime late April, and my numbers were expecting them to grow. So we're basically very happy with the first tournament, Guti Tenaucha Ganjan.
Beautiful stuff from the two winners and the president himself, the newly elected president, Derek Jere, the brother to Maxwell Jere. Now, I want just to clear something, Mkaya would see. Derek Manyama we saw has no relations with the Derek Jere, because the Derek Manyama actually is this international tennis star who normally comes in the country for other, other reasons. This is him. He was also part of the tournament, but there is a specific tennis player he's training. You have more on that.
Look ngethusa nje, the guy looks very young. Kuthi nje anga coach kulenye leave usukile eZambia weda lapha to coach Lofla. Lofla, one of our best tennis player. Yeah. So ngicabanga ukuthi nakithi kufuna sigobhe ukuthi nganyelanga nathi sesibe nawo umlosi kanje lapha ucoach kulenye leave and aphinza abe successful. Ngicabanga ukuthi tennis is going far ngale partnership yamanyama.
This is some of the, technical directors. Coach, I think he's been emphasizing programs of wheelchair tennis, women tennis, and all those things. I think they're also being congratulated on the day. Derek Jere, just maybe to humor them a bit, look at the presence there. They're looking alike. Their posture. I think he will take this job seriously as his brother. I mean, at some point I thought it was him. Maybe he just he grew a bit older. But beautiful job from the Jere families. I mean, if you can't beat them, just train them. They're doing a beautiful job. We can't have a problem with them taking over as an association as long as they're doing what you want in the sport.
Yeah, nangabe into nitmisele ngayo kude lokungavimba. Sibabonile ngisho naka football kukhona abantu okwenza ukuthi badlala nabo bhuti babo. Ukwazi bathatha noma bathatha coaching baphinza bayithatha kanye kanye. So ngicabanga sinalapha they're doing the right thing because egcina konke the sport is the winner.
Right. Yes. Because there's also Herman Jere, swimming president. It's also their brother. So there are three. You've got Maxwell, you've got Derek Jere in athletics, you've got Herman Jere in swimming. So the Jere family, of course, leading the sports fraternity. Now, moving on, as you can see, more players and, essential, trainees also were awarded on the day. Now, moving on, talk about tech ball as a sport as well. Over the weekend, they had a special occasion where they were visited by a team from the Republic of South Africa. Just look at this venue and the view at itself. Mavusa Sports Center, ngaphandle, beautiful stuff. Loku key mkhaya kule sportless. You can have 5 games live at the same time. No more than 5, 10 times, as long as you have got referees to monitor the situation. This team, of course, of Taribobe.
Yeah,
yes,
it's a unique sport. Ambala ma sport la ungadlala khona ema games lamane ngaka concurrently. Ngicabanga ukuthi it's ku unique kakhulu. Bese nama international international participation lapho khona sibone ema teams lasuka as far as eJozi. It's one of the best teams in South Africa. Iyadlala i-tech South Africa, but lena cishe i-team le-active leneliphupho lelikhulu kakhulu because now and then iyeta itovakasha ito-participate kuma-tournaments la khona la. Ngicabanga ukuthi i-tech ball lesinye sport lesikhula kakhulu because now ubuka nje lapha ukuthi njalo after 2 months nangaphosisi baba nema-tournaments. Baba nema tournaments, so now ubuka ukuthi ngeminyaka baba nema tournaments amangaka uyabona lokuthi they are going far.
Talk about teams like Emma. Take us through maybe a bit of what was happening over the weekend, a mixture of doubles and everything. Take us through a bit.
Yeah, bekunema doubles, bekunema mixed doubles, bekunema singles futhi. Kuma singles ke ngimangele ukuthi kunomuntu wasemankayani. Igama lakhe leli ngumndeni. Umndeni uyashayana umndeni. Ujone enyali take ball but so be champion. So kwashaya ngisho nabo Taribo laba befika nale take ball. So ngicabanga ukuthi is going far. Le sport siya grow na ubuka ukuthi umuntu usuka le emakhaya utodla abantu la. Surprisingly kunama doubles so angadliwa. I combination ya Taribo na Njabuliso Simelane angathi ukufuna nje kusukume mina emkhaya ngijone le
umkhambe ngithibuta vele ukuthi ufika nini khona ngoba icontrol ngathi nayo na buka the winner on the day
ufika nini bani ke
wena kule sport
le sport les ngita kancane ngilokuthi nje nema comments amaningi emkhaya ngita kancane tin for time let ngifuna nje ukuthi first tournament nami ngingena kupodium that's South African team yagcina inumber
ngathi ngoba semangane lo mkhaya lo bokhuluma ngayo lo mndeni
yes ufuna abam respect lo mfana na ubuka lokuthi usuka le emakhaya uhamba utowini loshaya bantu abadzala abakhansile so ngicabanga ukuthi kuhle kakhulu kwentaka table emkhaya wa.
Okay, it's beautiful stuff. And of course, let's mention that this team from South Africa, specifically in Johannesburg, is the same team that accommodated Botaribo when they were representing us for the World Cup in Poland. So they accommodated them, they helped them with facilities and everything. And as we can see, this is what I like. Look at the champions. It's a mixture. There's a female and there's a male. We've never seen this in other sporting courts. And that's the team from South Africa.
Ngingaphumi nje singaphumi kule team ya South Africa ngaba kusho ukuthi kuze improve kufuneka wente ama partnerships abe manengi. Na ubuka nje ukuthi kusho ukuthi i-tech ball Swaziland ayuphenza ihlupheke ngenzaba yokupractice nayo yonke into le ikhona i-team ya South Africa aba provider ngako konke so lama partnership with bantu la sebavele bayidlala ngcono ngalento kumcoka kakhulu.
So nasengiva ukuthi tech ball national team is a campaign bangayo campaign
futhi ke i-national team tech ball ababe banengi.
Alright.
So kulula accommodate abantu abancane nje ngalapha. So now the right nitihlanze with the right people ngicabanga ukuthi you get the right results.
All right. In the presence, of course, of the South African team that was visiting the Tech Ball Federation, it was, of course, a beautiful day where winners on the day had something to say reacting to their performance of the weekend.
I must say the guys here are very welcoming. It's amazing. It's amazing to see the professionalism. That was really something to take note of. But overall, I'm very impressed with the level. It's bringing our level up as well.
What's the level you're at right now in South Africa? Where is the sports in terms of?
If I can compare it, we are still crawling, and you guys are definitely running. Okay. So we in the building phase, but it's nice to see a blueprint, So it's definitely something we're gonna take home and implement back home in South Africa for sure.
Yeah. So far, the tournament, the level of competition between you guys, I've seen you putting in some impressive saves against Tario, who I must say is very difficult to play against.
Yes.
What did you find in terms of competition? Right?
I must say, playing against him, they say iron sharpens iron. So playing against someone who's good, it really helps you to improve your game as well. So it was just something I went into the game and said, look, I'm going to just do my best and see what happens, But yeah, I mean, it's what I can say about this level is it's something to aspire to. So I really enjoyed myself.
You said you are at a crawling stage, right?
Yeah.
What are you looking at picking from this tournament in terms of from the organizing stuff?
Yeah.
Up until to match day and all that. What are you hoping to pick from this game?
I'm definitely hoping to get the same level of professionalism, especially amongst the refereeing, and even if players felt like that was hard done by everyone, sportsman, everyone said, what, let's carry on with the game. At the end of the day, it's the game that grows. So that's definitely something we want to take home.
All right, hope we're gonna see you very soon.
Yeah, no, we're gonna enjoy the doubles now.
All right, thank you so much.
All right.
That's the South African team captain, and of course acknowledging in front of the camera, talking to our colleague Patrice Msibi, that we are far better than them. I mean, imagine I wish that was football, but it's stickball. But they are acknowledging that we're so better than them based on how far we've come. And remember, this is a sport that doesn't even have 5 years in the country, Mkhaya.
Nabe usportman bamba Fabrice kufanele ukuthi uvele ube humble. Mawubuka lapha ukuthi le speech sakhe ukhombise ba humble kakhulu. Kungenteka bona vele bangetulu kids but yena akakubeki lamahlombe akhe ukuthi thina we are better, they are better than us. Uthi ngithi lesingcono kunabo thina sesiphambili kunabo. But ke let's wait and see. Ngeke kuphele umnyaka singakaboni umehluko kahle kahle ngibani uphambili ngibani osemva njoba sokuyaqhubeka.
All right.
Yes.
Beautiful. A few touches we've seen, of course, from the local teams, the Matrikers, they were over there before, during the interview. And, of course, as you can see from the South African captain, we can see the saves and everything. But the setup is attractive on its own. When you look at the view of these things, look at that young man with the control and the technique. It is quite marvelous.
It's quite marvelous. But Corner stab and Dago.
Ha! Now, moving on other stuff, juicy stuff. You can't stop watching this. It's quite interesting, as you can see on the screen. Now, moving on, other juicy stuff that took place over the day. It was on this day, the 3rd of March, the year is 2022, where Eswatini Television Authority, of course, in conjunction with the Premier League of Eswatini, they penned down a 1-year contract where the package is believed to be $500,000. I mean, Mkhaya, kunehlelo la Report Eswatini every Monday, Tuesday, kunema highlights, all those things. Sesitebane stadium, package wama highlights. Kutsi babukele bakhone kubukela what went down during the weekend MTN Premier League. Kenneth Maziwa, the acting chief executive officer, Maka Michael, of course, trying to make sure that the country, the public, they do get what is needed when it comes to football. Uyibuka njani product Mkhaya?
Angibonga kakhulu Mkhaya wami. Ngicabanga ukuthi inakuzana iproduct ngoba sisaqala sizaqala cha ikahle ngoba sisaqala but ikhona iroom improve. Now ubona ukuthi Eswatini TV utawukhipha $500,000 abhadale PLE for a product. Kusho ukuthini kuma teams, kusho ukuthini PLE. Let's wait and see ukuthi lokho kutasilidele ekutheni lama games agcine alive yini. But ngicabanga ukuthi ikhona iroom improvement afuna uqambe Mkhaya wami. I-product kusengabi ngiyo lengathi
Mkhaya, when you are challenging teams, kutsi we shouldn't see things we've seen sometimes bo King Sobus ukanza kutsi players ngiyabekisa nje bafika bangathi ukuthi fune bagcoke ama-colors angafana nama-opponents abo. Ukhanze kuthi during the day warm up bagcoke amajazi ngathi kuyabanza ngathi bathi amajazi asendlini. Just they should look presentable, things should look professional, everything should be in order.
Yeah, ngicabanga ukuthi kwathi into ofuna sithi eliminate sima teams tinto leti petty. Tinto kufana ukuthi nje i-team seyikhole off ngokuthi amajezi afanana. Tinto efana ukuthi sesikhohle amakhadi okudlala. Malini i-TV production. It's a lot of money. Now ubuka ukuthi $500,000. Ubhadele ukuthi ngidafika ngithi njikile nina ubuyele emakhaya. Kwangadlalo. Kufuneka nayo ipumps game. Utokwathi ukuthi Eswatini TV nakabhadala, ubhadala i-product lengiyo.
And this is also to challenge sponsors, because if you pay $500,000 for sponsorship, I'm not saying MTN did anything wrong. They're doing their best.
Yeah.
Just hear me correctly, Mkhaya, as we move on. I'm challenging also sponsors to say, you know what, if there's a package of $500,000 for highlights, that there should be at least a package of $500 million for sponsorship.
Yeah. Now ubuka lokuthi batawubuka ukuthi le product kanjani. Vele sponsor le product ingiyo. Ku advertiser batawuthoza ba advertise whatever products labanawo batawukhona ukuthi ba market, provided ikhona viewership. Viewership attractwa yini?
The product in the field of play. Now, talk about the product. You're talking about there was a huge game, a titanic clash yesterday at the Mafusulu Sports Center between the defending champions, Royal Leopards, and aspiring champions, Mbabane Highlanders. A disappointing day, of course, for Highlander supporters. The chairman himself, Alejo Mongwe. The game itself, now Ibuga, did you expect, for Highlanders to win the game? I mean, I'll give you my own opinion. In as much as in as much as this team lost to Pirates 6-2.
Yeah.
But I made my conclusion in Bombera when I was there to say, you know what, they are capable of anything on home soil.
Yeah.
You know, quick 7 minutes, 2 goals. If they were motivated on home soil, they could have had that game, that CAF game. So coming to this game, you could see the upper hand. But you could also not undermine this team that we know in terms of supporters, biggest team in the land, would say they could change things. But to you, now Bogare game, Bokatseni, Wabonan.
No, bengugatsile lo njengalo angifuni uqambe manga Fabrice. Considering lokuthi noma kuthiwa idliwe 6-2 iRoyal Leopard eSouth Africa iOrlando Pirates, but it wasn't a very true reflection of the game. Kukhona la kwabashaya khona nabo. They could do better. Angabi manenga ngala amagoli. Ngicabanga idraw bebangayithwa na eSouth Africa. So le game ayitolo njengoba kashile coach Edwin ukuthi it's a different game altogether. That was an international game. Bakhonile ukuthi bacishe babambe iPirates for better 20 minutes or so. But babuya balakithi what do you expect? Now my teams we are not fully professional, bebadlala fully professional team in South Africa. So ngicabanga ukuthi akade apply kahle iMbabane Highlanders with the squad that they have. Angicabanga ukuthi bebangaluza kalula kanje considering lokuthi iRoyal Leopard crippled emuva. Central defense are very shaky, banema injuries, bethe vele idefense lekahle, but now ubuka lokuthi inakuzana inawo wonke ama defenders ongawacabanga. Defensive midfielders, that is Highlanders.
What a miss by
Perry.
But for a player of his caliber, do you expect him to put it in the back of the net?
Yeah, nangabe team lene temperament lenjengale we are expecting because you get overexcited even before you kick the ball.
All right. As you can see, they are still trying to get into the back and into Highlanders' defense. But when you look at maybe also their shots on target, at some point they were not clinical. But this, I mean, Stu was called, but I think for me the job was done by one man.
One man.
Yes.
One Makakula.
Yes, Makakula.
Yeah. That's a Superman to say. Ngicabanga ukuthi lo mdlalo lona udlale kahle kakhulu. Junior Makakula for the past few seasons ngicabanga ukuthi is one of the few players labente kahle ka Premier League.
Look at the pass. We get to him, but I want us to talk about this pass. How does a pass, you got 3 or 4 defenders in front of them, not making anything, and the player himself making able to release that pass without anyone marking him?
Kunenga kakhulu lokubalako lapho. Ubala distance from the goalkeeper, ubala difference inakuzana difference, that is the space with the defenders. Bese uyabala ukuthi le ball itawuphuma lapho. Then the speed of the ball. Ngolo kumcoka kakhulu. Because bongayifaka le ball lapha.
That ball was fast.
That ball was fast. If it was fast, I better figure kuye goalkeeper, better figure kuye defend. So kunengi lokubalako lapho. Le distance and the speed of the ball.
All right. Now, this is how the first half ended, of course, on the day. 1-0. They were leading. At that point, Mavuso was quite... look at the defense. I mean, the numbers look quite more in black and white, but less in blue and white.
Akusho lutho inombolo nangabe bonke labantu bafacele lipali, Fabrice. Lapha nje nawubuka ukuthi noma ngibani bekathinza le bhola beyingena. So let nombolo nangabe nonke nibukele epalini. Kusho ukuthi nonke ndashaya le goal. Bengaba na own goal kube le defender ayithinzile le bhola.
Mango was in contact with one of the Highlanders players, and then he got a red card. But look at, as he was being carried out, look at this. What did he do? Who does this?
Bahlala basmart Fabrice. Now ubuka lapha lokuthi lo muntu kube sengathi ulimele kani nguye lo dlale kabi. Kangathi wazi babita besito lokuqala bato sita yena. Wasina kandleni wabuza ngithola ired card uyehla nakuzana ihamba wehla staff.
Instead of vele uyasho ukuthi umuntu ufuna umnikele red card as he's being lifted. Bengeke khona kumnikela red card ahle because wamela a ref for about 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, wamela but buka lokuthi so yehla staff so wehla akusasiya umdlalo olimele.
Mkhaya, this goal, we'll talk about it probably for 5 minutes. That's Fisomat. Look at the cross. There is Tabiso put it on the plate. Junior, what a finish. And look at the the way he opens his leg to make sure he puts it in the right position.
The composure. Now buka ukuthi Perry uphosa ayithola sithuba njengale but he ballooned over the bar. Buka le composure lo mfana Makakula. Very well composed ekathi eboxini wathatha isikhathi sakhe and took the basics washaya ibhola far post lapho khona angafiki khona goalkeeper. Ngicabanga ukuthi asemancane ma teams.
Look at the way he puts it.
Yeah. ngicabanga ukuthi
There
asemancane
was a
ama-teams
hand.
that
There was a hand from the goalkeeper. He tried
Was
to
it?
touch it, yes. But yeah, it was not. He was not lucky enough.
yeah kanti uyobuke le balance yalo goalkeeper uthi much as athi asikhipha lesandla but nathi ngeke sichubeke angishayi lapho utagcina kuyikhomba njengoba endile lapho ibalance yakhe bese kulesandla langakaskipi so ngicabanga ukuthi asemancane ama team lathi awushaya le rally but nathi achubeka ibe nje.
You want to win the league. Sorry to cut you, Mkai. You want to win the league as Highlanders. You mentioned about poor defense. Let's look at the errors maybe into their defense. Sfiso crosses this ball. Look at where Tabiso, when Tabiso lands that ball, look at the position of Highlanders, players, mostly defenders. And look at the goalkeeper. Is he aligning in the right position? Of course, there is no offside. But look at the man in black. Look at before Tabiso lands that ball. Look at the position of this goalkeeper. What should you do as a goalkeeper? How should you position a defense in this position? But it's too late because he's taking action. But what should have been done before the corner?
It's too late. Lokumtoka ngilokuthi umuntu athathe ema instructions lapha nje kusho ukuthi bese babancane phambili laba be Royal Leopard because bayashota
10 men.
10 men. So kusho ukuthi ke wonke umuntu athi ngeke ngimark le defense ye Highlanders. Ngeke ngimark nalo athi ngeke ngimark because bayashota nami ngeke ngimark. Bagcina umunye umuntu ugcina soba free emkhathini abantu abangi 3. Ngiyolo result kuleli goal because if bonke labantu bebana
let's take it from here.
Now
the man is receiving the ball, the marking. Let's come back to the cross. When Sfiso releases that ball, look at where Tabiso is. Look at between Tabiso, the man who is with him.
Akamark because umbeka ngala ngasepalini bekufanele namfihle ngale ngemvangano khona kumbona lo setha le ball. Because lapho umbonile ukuthi
in the wrong position. As we're back.
Wrong position.
Wrong position. And then when as a goalkeeper, is he opening the right way?
Yeah, he's opening the right way. He's opening the right way because kufuneka ukuthi I defense yamathi ima defenders akhona akangiphikelele ngidawuphika ku near post because ngendlela la control ngebhola abengashaya ngoba nguphi because ube siphamisa nemehlo. So vele better ba exposed kube ukwathatha lenye direction. Still better ba exposed vele.
Okay, Mkai, you come to the game, you know how this player is a problem, Junior Magagura. He's the one who takes the corner.
Yeah.
Junior Magagura. Because the whole game, if you look at how the incident starts, he's the one who comes from the corner. He takes the corner. He comes into the moment he receives the pass. No one is marking him. What's the plan? Look where he is. And he doesn't even have to ask the ball. Sfiso will turn and just release the ball to him. Who is in that position? Why is no one giving himself an assignment ukuthi utamniki ball?
Yeah, njengoba ngishilo ukuthi ma responsibilities ababeka eceleni because if ungamshiya njani
look at uze
wengana vusi wamenga endleleni wahamba wa receive ibhola wa control ayedwa washaya goal. So ngicabanga ukuthi ma responsibilities
ukuphi, what are you thinking at this point in time?
Yes bathi ngeSiswati ngiyabona wena uDabane bukhuni bathi linyenti liyabona benze sho ukuthi labana kasi babanenge babese bona lendvo because lapha if le nombolo yama defenders bengama nombolo yama attackers bekangeke kwenteke lo because bonke bataba responsible because banenge laba black babukana emehlweni wagcina uthatha ibhola emkhathisini wabo baphasela abashaya goal emkhathini abantu labanenge.
Now, he's in shock. He has spent a lot. He has paid enough. He has a lot of expectation. They are the champions for the first round, 200,000 emalangeni. Imali singasho ukuthi bayayideserve nawubuka performance yabo. One would say maybe there are comments to say Highlanders they had a good run in the first 15 games, but what is important is the first. What is important is the 3 points on the day. They got the 3 points. And
but deserve, but Highlanders give ngathi itendele pass ngendlela approaching le game. By deserve laba it will go a long way now buka lokuthi bani ma trips amanengi bana expenditure setulu kakhulu ba traveler ba flyer ngikathi it will go a long way kuba sita kule midlalo yabo.
All right, we're still talking about Junior Magagura. I want your opinion. You're a player, a top man. How good is he currently? How good is he? On his day, I heard also Mandla The Orlando Pirates coach also mentioned his quality. I've seen a lot on social media, and I think one specific man that started talking about Junior Magagula was former Sihlang coach Papich.
Yeah.
Papich talk about him a lot, and I think at some point he gave him a name. He used to call him Shisanyam. How good is he on his day? How good currently in the land?
Junior Makakula, I'm yet to see him angadlali kahle. Always he applies himself 110%. Always. Nangabe kungahambi kahle kusuke ku genuine lokuthi akusi umdlalo ogodla emandla. The skill is there. He gives himself time. Na kuya ukuthi Junior Makakula ekuseni usuka semgwaqweni. Tsambana usuka semgwaqweni before I join any team. Off season Junior Makakula ukhanza semgwaqweni. Na kuthiwa kufika kokuqala isizini Junior Makakula usuwadlale over 20 games ema social games. Yeah. So ngicabanga ukuthi lokho kuba kuthi misela ungakhesi uthi I'm playing ka Premier League ngengidlala nebafana lokudlala nayo le titokufeli isikhathini esiningi kuyakwenta lokho ukuthi improve wona sithi kutsathi kangayami because abantu bama professionals but nje kuyamenta ukuthi umuntu agcine angilala ngekho njengafuthi
We've seen also we've seen also on the papers that he impressed the Algerians and everything. There's only reason to why I was saying I wonder if it's possible or not, but there's only reason why to write. But I want to break down the 5 years, maybe between 2015 to now.
Yeah.
Is there a player you can say between 2017 to now? Is there a player that has impressed you? I mean, he's been growing. Now, about 2020, from 2020, growing a bit. But for the past 12 years, if you had to count best players, 5 top players in the past 12 years, ungamfaka in the cards. No, it's too early maybe to start singing about him.
Sengamfaka. Sengamfaka nangboy for the past 12 years or seasons. Ngamfaka one of the best players. Sibabonile ngaba luhla labo lidze kakhulu but nje ngamfaka ukufuna usa improve kancane. Yeah. Funa improve kancane ama aerial balls kufuneka athi udila kanjani now because yena mawubuka ugood ku carpet football. That is short akapheleke lapho. Tackles angake sengibone into good tackles. Ma tackles ke but ashaya ngonke umuntu striker u midfield unakuza if you want to play successfully international funa ukwathi kushaya tackle.
In terms of national team, do you think he can maybe put in his assistance and we might see his presence?
Yeah. It's long overdue. It's long overdue kufika kwakhe national team. Ngicabanga ukuthi na last calls bekufuna abe khona. But ke hopefully ngicabanga ukuthi uthi makufika nyalo utasita ku national team.
All right. Now, their team, we'll talk about Highlanders as well and other teams, maybe few teams. Their team to watch and their team that is representing us. But if there was a chance, maybe City, they should just get players to add in their position. What do you think they should beef up in Irelo part?
Irelo part it's a income, it's a defense. With due respect, I gabi for Ikrimamba, Gunasiyabonga Simelane playing for Ikrimamba. That guy angafita kule position lengicabanga ukuthi yasho because bosushi batsinga ibackup.
Yes.
Yeah, kungakuze bagcina sebadropa nabo mathe because kude umlocisa dlasi wasushi. Nangekho sushi kusho ukuthi sekufuna sale bashintsha le ndlela badlala ngayo. With that boy siyabonga Simelane from Krimamba. Uyakhona kudlala defensive. Uyakhona futhi kudlala na that is good defense aphinde futhi adlala defensive midfield. Ngicabanga ukuthi with due respect from Ikrimamba, that player can do very, very well here.
Now, for a team like Highlanders, and of course we're looking at both teams, you've spent a lot of money, men like Arihomo, you have expectations. Do you think they can turn around in the second round and make changes and get maybe something and be able to get new players? Because in most cases we've seen him going outside the country, getting players, and they make headlines in the paper. They like using former what team is now a Highlander player just because you're saying former what player.
Yeah.
I think there's so much of that. We've seen, I think, Bomolot and all those things. What do you expect from them now, if in terms of their to change? Where do you want them to beef up?
Ngicabanga ukuthi inakuzana imbabane Highlanders starting from today kuya kupheleni kweleague ngicabanga ukuthi team lengeke izenze kahle. Why? Because sebashintshela abadlali bebawinisa le team sebashintshele style of play besiwinisa le team first round cishe yonke until maybe the last 3 or so games bebadlala kahle kakhulu futhi ama results bebawathola.
So you are congratulating umsebenzi
umsebenzi wa NS ngicabanga ukuthi ube muhle kakhulu. Ngicabanga ukuthi kube early kakhulu ukuthi NS bebangamshintsha because anze kumgcoka etimini lenkulu ngangembabane Highlanders ama results nabe lama results they were forthcoming. Why do you punch holes kulokunye ngala ma results awathola? Ngicabanga ukuthi beginning from yesterday going forward Highlanders akusi team lencawuthi itakwenda kahle because nyalo i-winning combination yabo abasayadi on star winner nasidlala kanjani badlana embabane Swallows bawina cishe lapho
Swallows on top of the game.
Yeah, on top of the game but still lapho bekuse sandla sa Ernest to say so khona ke coach wabo
but bebatrainiwe Ernest.
Yeah, be training Ernest then nyalo sesandla salo sa coach lo khona nyalo. I'm taking away nothing from him
No coach
coach Lomusha but ngicabanga ukuthi utabane bokhulu going forward nembabane Highlanders.
There's an issue of also a top man. I mean, in the absence of Skadi, they are nearly without a striker. He has been playing a lot. I think this man, when you look at him in that position, then you wonder what he's thinking to say, do I want to add a player? I mean, let's keep it local. Let's keep it local because I know for sure he will have to get someone from outside. But if he was to get someone local, who do you think he can bring and assist Scar in terms of striking forces?
It's very tough.
You are not taking anyone from any team. You are just looking at like ushito nje ku defense area but ukuthi ungaba kahle ukuthi bathole umdlali
kuphuma.
But kule partnership ye Scar umbani ongamfanela nje ukuthi badlale kanye kanye.
Ngicabanga ukuthi Sikhale angayiqhuba lenqola ayedwana akadzingi ene assistance because udlalile first round cishe 70% of the games adlala ayedwana. He excelled.
Behind him, does he need a good playmaker?
Njengoba bekakhona lo befaka khona ngicasa angaqhubeka lo mfaka umkhonto ngicabanga ukuthi is doing well partnering with him, in fact following him. Ngicabanga ukuthi I think striker lesinye inakhuzana ukuthi ilungise kahle indlu yayo imbabane Highlanders itaqhubeka iwin but angayilungisa indlu yayo kahle itabane bukhona. They need umuntu losedudane lotakhuluma iqiniso, umuntu lo ne culture le local utayisithi imbabane nabe sona assistant wase South Africa una assistant futhi una head coach wase South Africa uphinze maybe una goalkeeper coach wase South Africa sengibange lo taku spayela kahle la the other teams le culture le local tasesoyithola kuphi nangabe le technical se very head wabantu labangesi labate iculture yala Eswatini.
All right, the CAF Confederation Group Games continue this coming weekend, of course, with Royal Leopard heading to Mbombela once again to play the Al Ittihad from Libya. Still not a point, Mkaya. They lost their first game, they lost their second game, now they're facing the third game. And Sikumule would say they have already played 2 games at home. I mean, this is going to be a second game at home against Al Ittihad from, Libya. Baniga need to. We don't know much about the team, but we know the Northern African football, how professional they look. Do they stand a chance?
They don't stand a chance. Considering lokuthi lama teams ase north, they are superior kulokunene. Kwesibili we are less privileged lokuthi sina sikhona ukuhosta la khaya. Lokusho ukuthi ngisho ukuthi onke ama games esiwadlalela ngaphandle. City advantage ukuthi sine stable sihlala la khaya. So ngicabanga ukuthi they will have it hard.
Kuwe was it a tough group? Nawubuka before sikhulume ngala ukuthi sidlale asikhona ukudlala ekhaya, but kuwe nawubuka le group, was it a tough group?
Yeah, it's a tough group. It's a tough group. Bona nje labe ngibabukela khona kungathi babente kahle ngoba bangi4 ngicabanga sibabanga number 3 but abente kahle kakhulu. Otherwise kude longakhala ngokuthi iLeopard benjanjani. It was a tough group. It is a tough group indeed.
So you don't give them a chance even this coming weekend?
Yeah, I don't give them a chance. I can't give them a chance. Kona team against ala Eswatini, but I don't give them a chance.
There's also
their best result maybe ngafana be draw ibabeka kuphi draw nangabe khona abantu asebawine 2 games. Nothing.
Tough. Now, against
Yeah.
time, of course, we also talk about one or two teams that are in the race for the M10 Premier League. We look at Buffalo and Mbabane Swallows. Mbabane Swallows we'll also talk about. It's a team that has financially Mkaya spent. They brought on in the big guns. Babuye labo Felix, babuye labo Kwendegane. Why is Mbabane Swallows? Or there are too many Gutswane coach. Too many in one pot.
Ngicabanga ukuthi ibe nengakhulu le duplication yama players.
Because unaphuphu uphinzwe namanyisa
Ube na Felix, ube na Enzo. Yabo?
kanzi ubani poster boy wakho mbamba.
Uyabona ube siba nobukhulu ukuthi awudlalisa abantu. So ngicabanga ukuthi Swallows nale squad sikhulu kakhulu. Le squad lesi ngeke uze uwine ileague yala Eswatini ngesquad esinengangaka.
But kulabanye bakhala ukuthi it's a good thing na ubuka bo Chelsea England. Lokho it's a good thing because the depth it shows you can play more games. But labanye bakhala ukuthi mhlawumbe not to undermine Babe Manyats, not to undermine because currently he's in charge. But labanye bevanga ukuthi mhlawumbe ukuthi ngaka coach wena uva kanjani Mkhaya?
Akudzinge coach lapha kudzinga i-management yathi ukuthi we don't sign badlali lesingabadzingi. I-history yokuwina i-league Mkhaya 14 players only all the other players they are fringe. 14 players only ngakubuyisela way back.
So umuntu odlala ku position ya Junior Makakhulu ingaphela isizini angakadlali.
Angaphela ngakadlali
Because
utawathola ama results.
Junior udlala every day.
Wathi ufuna kufaka Junior bese ufuna kufaka lo muntu ufaka ngeze uyiwina
Because
because
still you can put Phuphu noma Manyisa ungayathola ama results. Kanzi i-depth.
ngeke uze wathole lapho because kufuna kube nale match fitness ne combination. Le league yethu incane kakhulu for ukuthi ungaba nebadlali abanengi kangaka for one position. Le league yethu incane kakhulu. Felix
Sandile partnership uyibona kanjani? Is it the best maybe in the league?
Felix base bafunela inakhuzana. Sebamfunela iposition ukuthi ufuna ahlala abese groundini. He's not an out and out striker. Felix.
Mkhaya namhluko amaqiniso kakhulu. Yes.
So mafuna kuwina league basically kufuna kube na only 14 players.
You don't need 23.
No. Siye nabana bo 11 men before by winning league with about 14.
Swallows yake iwina 2 or 3 times in a row in 11 lengashinji.
13 players kwaba neGrimamba nabo nabo 13 players at some point kwaba neMbabane Highlanders at some point nayo bekwatiwa nje sibhalotsheni kwaba nemhlamba yathi Rovers. Now so besibhalotsheni scheme bebayiwina ke league. Ngeke uwine league ngebadlali abanengi kangaka.
Before we leave, Buffaloes. It's another team, Baccara Gabi, in terms of they lost their first 3 games, but they picked up as the league was progressing. They could change things, they could change tunes in the second round.
Watch out for young Buffaloes with lenkinga labanayo inyalo be-Royal Leopard defense. Ngenteke young Buffaloes ifike kubo. I-Buffaloes, Royal Leopard ataba compete.
Wow, you body Highland.
Kangikhulume ku-Highlander ukuthi
Okay, this is how the league will end.
Kusukela nyalo u-Highlander ngibona ibuyele emuva mina ngeperformance yakhe.
Competition Taba Leopard.
Yeah.
Green Mamba?
Green Mamba noma ingaphika sekulate.
Wow.
League yethu incane kakhulu yeah.
Mkhaya, isikhathi sekuhamba. Mkhaya udlala nini? Ngoba sikhuluma kakhulu ngamanye ama teams udlala nini? Nge-weekend uyadlala?
No, angidlala nge-weekend. Ngidlala mhla ka 20 something.
20 something.
Yeah, 20 something.
So we are any match fitness.
Yeah, ngiyayithola.
Mkhaya, 2 games played you haven't played. I'm starting to get worried. You're not a top man.
Worried. Experience nengakho ngiyathi fitness ngiyithola njani.
They have it. Thank you very much for being with us, Mkhaya. Umsebenzi lo wendawo singasho ukuthi Sport Council were so appreciative of your collaboration and how you're always present when we call you for the invitation. And I think keep it up the good job and ungayekele kudlala lebhola ngoba uyatsingeka vele la ka Premier League na National Festival.
Ngiyabonga kodwa is too much for me. Premier League is too much for me.
They have it. That was Zwagale Smirane, one of the well-known faces in the football fraternity here in the kingdom of Eswatini. In terms of teams that he has played, in terms of his analysis, he's always present when we need his advices. Otherwise, it was a show that we touched on different issues that touched on golf and tennis. We're both sponsored by Eswatini Bidding Society. Over the weekend, they had a 2-day tournament, and we heard from different associations, the 2 associations, what did did they say about the winners, and what did the winners on themselves say about the tournament? We talked about Tech Ball getting a visit from one of the South African teams that also they have a collaboration and a connection whenever they are needed. Otherwise, a huge deal on the table, huge deal once again for you, the loyal viewers of Eswatini TV, between Eswatini Authority, Eswatini Television Authority, and the Premier League of Eswatini. $500,000 has been spent for you, the viewer, to ensure that you get the highlights for the best teams when they compete at the Elite League. They are the champions of the first round, Royal Leopard, and they went home with 200,000 emalangeni. Off to Mbombela this weekend. Can they do well? Can they do better? Silhlala kamnanzi.